You know what's better than one NCAA tournament win in a day? Two NCAA tournament wins in a day.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Bears fans. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Baylor, your second Baylor basketball NCAA tournament post-game show in the same afternoon. I'm your host, Cam Stewart of ESPN Central Texas and the Cam Show on YouTube through Rogue Media Sports Network. We appreciate you guys making this your first, second, and third listen every single day, because that's what we are at the Locked On Podcast Network. We're your team every day. The team formerly known as the Lady Bears, they outlast Grand Canyon. It wasn't the easiest trip in the world. 73-60. The Bears get it done behind a big double-double performance from Aaronette Vonleh. Jada Walker poured in 17 points. I think all of them were in the second half. Now that I'm literally just reading that right now. Yeah, she had 0 points in the first half. So there you go. Big time second half performance from her. Grand Canyon stuck in this thing for a long time, but the nation's longest winning streak, the longest winning streak in college basketball, men's or women's, comes to an end when you try to come into the Foster Pavilion and think you're going to get away with an easy victory. The Bears move on. Now they are awaiting the winner of Ole Miss and Ball State, which will also, of course, be at the Foster Pavilion. And I'm sure most of you who are at the game are still there. If you're listening after the fact, I'm sure a lot of you that are listening after the fact, I should say, are in the Foster Pavilion right now. I do want to know from those of you who are in there and are walking out or just, paying or tuning in between games, what was the atmosphere like? Because honestly, it felt like it was pretty damn good watching it on TV. Grand Canyon had a nice section of people there. They seemed to travel well, but the student section was packed. It looks like we had a great contingent there. Always weird, kind of blocking off some of the arena because it's an NCAA tournament game, but looked like it was a fun atmosphere for what was a pretty damn good college basketball game. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was worried coming into this, as I said on the show. I was worried throughout part of this game. Never that like, oh God, Baylor's going to lose here, but they're losing most of the first half. And it was pretty apparent that they were not going to run away with this game. In fact, if you had told me at the beginning of the fourth quarter they're going to win by 13, I'd have been like, sign me up, take it. That feels like 30 in this game. And that's what they end up winning by. So Baylor did close this out. I've been critical of them in winning time and crunch time of these games. I think they've been poor in that area this whole season. But today, albeit against an opponent from a lesser conference, this wasn't TCU out there. I got to give GCU their credit, but they're not a team like TCU that they played 2 straight championship games. But it's an NCAA tournament game, and they took care of business down the stretch. Jada Walker specifically, obviously Nettie had the game, but I mean the second half from Jada Walker was not a great Sarah Andrews game, so you really needed Jada to step into it, and she stepped into it. Yaya Felder gave them great minutes, 33 great minutes, by the way. That's on the high end for her. Dariana Littlepage Buggs, first game back, doesn't hit a field goal, 2 points, and yet honestly, I thought this was a good scenario for her more than it was a good game for Dariana Littlepage Buggs. Okay. She comes in, she plays 18 minutes, high intensity minutes, right? There's no coasting at all in this game. She had a couple block shots in there, and literally as I'm looking at the StatCast, it's now refreshing. I've not hit anything. So I was going to give you the rest of her stat line, but I can't. This has been a banner day for the StatCasts of both men's and women's. Of course, the men's StatCast still says that Baylor's leading 37-32. But Dariana Littlepage Buggs, she gave you some block shots today. She gave you some rebounds. She plays less than half the game, but I thought that was a good way to kind of usher her back into the lineup here. But Nettie was the player of the game, 25 and 11. She ran the floor really well, and this is a case for her and and most of the posts in women's college basketball. Like when Nettie is running the floor the whole game, there's not a lot of teams, not a lot of players that can stop her. And you've seen in some of the games where she's either having to work really hard or things just aren't going very well for Baylor, where she's not exactly running the floor the whole time. It doesn't look like, so now there's no StatCast at all. Sorry, guys. This is a personal crisis for me as I'm trying to do a post game and they just delete the StatCast for some reason. So I'm going to search for some more numbers because I was ready to just pour into some numbers here. Wasn't the best Bella Fauntleroy game, and that's something I'm looking for from this team to have that combo back, not just Bella Fauntleroy, but Fauntleroy and Little Paige Bugs and what they can do for you on the wings. That neither one had a great statistical game. Again, I'm giving more of a benefit of the doubt to Bugs, for being out for, a couple of weeks there, to kind of ease back into this thing. And it wasn't a great Bella Fauntleroy game. And as good as Jada Walker was in the second half and as good as Nettie was for the game, if you told me just watching this game that the best player on the floor didn't play for Baylor and I had not watched either of these teams all season long, I might have believed you. This Trinity San Antonio, which is like redundant, right? Everything in San Antonio is Trinity College. There's a Trinity High School. It's wicked Catholic. Trinity San Antonio is about as Catholic a name as you can get, I think. She was great in this game. I mean, she kept them in it for a good portion of it. 12 of 26 from the field in women's basketball. It's not that bad. 27 points. She was like single-handedly keeping them in this game for a team that shot only 34% from the floor. And there's Baylor shooting 50%. As you can tell, I do have some more stats up here. Thank you, StatCast, not. But the thing for me that was big is the fact that Grand Canyon had 19 more field goal attempts than Baylor did. It's something that you felt during this game. It was weird because Baylor had the rebounding edge. It was mostly that Baylor just made more shots. But you just can't be minus 19 in field goal attempts, even in women's basketball, which has more missed shots than men's does, and expect to really advance far in the tournament. That's the only real downside I had from Baylor in this game. I thought they were better in the paint. They were only +4, but they felt a lot better in the paint. I thought they defended pretty well, and they, I thought, took a good number of threes. When this team goes upwards of 15 to 20 3-point attempts, which does happen sometimes, it happened a lot more last year, that's just not going to be in their game. Today, 5 of 13. I think that's the perfect sample size. And because of that, you shoot 38.5%. That's a good place to be living in there. But it can't be overstated enough. Like, Grand Canyon came in on a 30-game heater. I don't care what conference you're playing in. If you're in Division I, they're in the WAC, by the way. If you're in Division I and you win 30 straight games, you are doing something right. And two of the 3 losses on the season come against, top 15 teams in America, including this one today. So that to me is just impressive. That is impressive. Any way you kind of slice it up. And honestly, as I was saying at the beginning of the week when I was worried about this matchup because Grand Canyon's won 30 straight games, this is kind of the game I was thinking would play out. And I'm sure a lot of you guys did too. Like, yeah, it's a good team. Baylor should still win. But the Lopes were in it for most of the game. And Baylor kind of pulled away at the end. If Baylor was not on their at least B+ game today, they might have lost. But they were sharp and they were good. And Scotty B makes a good point. I think this is a good way to put it. Grand Canyon's better than a 13. They just are, man. Like, I don't know women's basketball up and down the way that, I mean, I couldn't say I know that about men's basketball either, to be fair, like totally up and down. But you see that team, you see that they've won 30 straight games. They won their regular season and conference tournament. Like that just, and you see a player like Trinity San Antonio, and it's like that shouldn't be a team that's playing a 4 in the first round. Like, I'm sorry that they're a better team than that. I know the disparity between mid majors and Power 4 is a little bit different in women's than it is in men's, but that's a good team. And Scotty also brings up a good point too, which I was going to get to here. Molly Miller should be a Power 4 head coach soon. She has certainly put out a resume for it. And whatever major job becomes available after this season in women's basketball, Molly Miller will get consideration for it. Again, she was in the running for this Nicki Collen job. I don't think she was one of the finalists, if I remember correctly. But she was in for a major coaching job a few years ago, and here she is winning 30 straight games at Grand Canyon. Like, no doubt there is a major Power 4 job waiting for her. And this game that's going on right after is going to be interesting. This Ole Miss Ball State game, you heard the commentators talking about it at the end. Like, Ole Miss can go up and down the floor on you, and it's because they play such suffocating defense. And that Ball State team's not ready to be pushed around as a 12 versus 5. You never know in the NCAA tournament. That's a senior-laden team. There are a lot of vets on that team. So that'll be an interesting one. Hopefully they just wear each other out a little bit, because Baylor got worn out a little bit in this game. So hopefully Ball State and Ole Miss can wear each other down a little bit for Sunday. Bella did hit a big 3 in the fourth quarter. Yeah, it's a good point. When they were kind of starting to pull away. And yes, Connie B points this out too. Kentucky and Liberty was wicked close, man. Kentucky was the 4. So same matchup, 4 versus 13 against a hardcore Christian school in the 13 seed. Same thing that Baylor had, but Kentucky beat them by 1. And that was back and forth all game. So that was a pretty interesting one. Pretty interesting scoreline. Chuck said, good win by the women's team, quality win by the men's team. You couldn't ask for a better Friday than that, right? Beautiful day, NCAA tournament. You get to watch the men's team squeak one out in a game that they played really well in for most of the game. And then you walk on over to the Foster and see the ladies take care of business as well. It's all leading to 1 seeds for both these teams. Of course, Baylor's going to get one. The men, I should say, are going to get one on Sunday. Duke won by like 1 billion points. Did they end up winning by 50? I saw it was 45 late in the game. I was mostly watching this women's game. And if the ladies win on Sunday, they will almost certainly get matched up with number 1 UCLA. Samuel brings up a good point. Molly Miller, she's so gorgeous. She's a very lovely lady. I can't lie, man. And Grand Canyon, they've got obviously Bryce Drew, who I think their game's still going on right now. They're still hanging tough with Maryland. They're within 15. Bryce Drew's coaching the men's team. Good-looking guy. And here's Molly Miller for the women's team. Quite good-looking herself. Something's in the water at Grand Canyon. This is like this old news station I worked for in Odessa, where they just hired Barbies and Kens. Which was, by the way, the greatest compliment I've ever had in my life was being hired at that station in market number 140, because I noticed when I got there that they only hired good-looking people. So I brought everyone down. But I think that might be what's going on at Grand Canyon basketball. And Scotty B puts up a good point. Arizona State, that could be she wouldn't have to go very far, right? Phoenix to Tempe. And Scotty B will be breakdancing as well. He mentioned that somewhere in the comments. Yeah, here he is. And Scotty has always got a reason for using the songs that he breakdances with. Okay. He's never just willy-nilly picking one. Okay. He's going to be breakdancing to Rockin' Me by the Steve Miller Band. It mentions Phoenix, Arizona, where GCU is located, right? That's like the keep on rocking me, baby. Yeah. You could have done, the Winslow, Arizona song by the Eagles. Take It Easy. But it's probably not as good as breakdancing as the Steve Miller Band is. I don't know. But Lady Bears get the win today. Team formerly known as the Lady Bears get the win. And if I was going to tell you that, hey, NCAA tournament game, you're going to get a pretty empty score sheet from Bella Fauntleroy and Dariana Little-Page-Bugs and Sarah Andrews, and you're going to win by double digits against a team that's won 30 games in a row, I think you'd take it. And we're going to take it. And now we've got to do some scouting here. Once this game tips off, Ball State, Ole Miss, winner gets the Bears in the Bear Den. So look, I know it's not ideal that both the men and women are played today, and they'll both play on Sunday. But depending on what the times of those games are, if you are in Waco and in the area, get out there. Get to the Foster Pavilion. Especially if it's 4-5 against Ole Miss, like, you've got to get there and make an impact on this game. Like, Ole Miss is intense as holy heck. You have got to get out there and make a difference at the Foster Pavilion on Sunday. And if it overlaps, we'll keep you updated on the men's game against Duke. We're still waiting on the times for both of those. But yeah, this was probably the most attractive coach that Baylor's faced this year and will face for a long time. So take that and stick it in your hat. Bears win 73-60. They move on. Ball State or Ole Miss, who do you want it to be? Let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about this game today. Let me know. Be sure to like and subscribe. Ring that notification bell to get notified every time we're going live because, guys, I'm letting you in on something. It's going to be erratic as long as these teams are in the tournament. Going to try to put something together tomorrow as like a little Duke preview, so you won't want to miss that. It's not like dropping at 7 a.m. the same way we do on the weekdays. So you won't want to miss that. And then, of course, live from the game after the games on Sunday. So you're not going to want to miss those either. And the way to not miss those is liking and subscribing and ringing that notification bell to get notified every time we're dropping a video on YouTube. And then they're going wherever you get your podcast. So thank you guys so much for making it your first listen today and every day. Thank you to the lot of you who tuned into both and are tuning into both the men's post game and the women's post game. We will see you very soon on your favorite show, Locked On Baylor.